Hello, and welcome back to another UFC Fight Night card. Your boy Gomi is back. I had to take a little bit of a rest and relaxation. I was not doing hot in UFC, so I decided to take a step back. Just take a step back, chill a little bit. I enjoyed UFC Noche. Pretty solid card. I did really good. I just got screwed by Padilla. And also that awful decision. My God, Mike Bell, what are you thinking? But regardless, your boy Gomi is back, and we're going to be looking at the card. We're going to have this one going to be a pretty solid one. Two guys I'm really high on. Rafael Fiziev is going to be taking on Mateusz Gamrot. We're going to see the new generation of lightweights face off again because the old gen actually beat them all back, which is not indicative of a lack of skill of the new gen of lightweights. It's just that we really discredited the old gen for whatever goddamn reason. But regardless, let's look at this. No, not Mortal Kombat. Let's look at this card. It's a decent card. It's got some actual solid picks. I think it's actually going to be a pretty fun night. And we're going to start with Montserrat Rendon versus Tamires Vidal. I'm praising it, but this first fight sucks. His first fight is not that good. We're going to be having Montserrat Vidal is going to be making her UFC debut. She's nothing crazy, to be perfectly honest with you. Not anything I'm really hyped about. And then Vidal's a decent fighter. Nothing crazy as well, too. But she's on a very good win streak. Not the best of people that she's beaten, but she's overall on a very good win streak. Some things to note is Montserrat, her boxing is bad. It's just straight up bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think her boxing is very bad. Meanwhile, Vidal, her wrestling is pretty decent. She lands a good amount of volume with good accuracy. She takes more shots than I'd like. But yeah, I'm not super high on this matchup. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I think it's gonna be Vidal. Going like normally, I would want to pick Vidal by finish just because of Montserrat not being that good, to be honest with you. But I kind of can't, just because of the fact of Tamires having awful finishing ability, Vidal having awful finishing ability. So that's why I think I'm gonna go decision for Vidal. Alright, and now going on to the next fight. Mizuki Inoue versus Hannah Goldie. This is also a fight of all time. Now, you guys should know by now, you should know the drill. I don't like fighters coming off long layoffs. I will not pick you. Even if I think Mizuki Inoue is going to win this fight, I'm not picking her coming off a 3-year layoff. Her last fight was in 2020 against Amanda Lemos. I'm not gonna pick you. But Hannah Goldie kind of sucks. Hannah Goldie has not been looking good. She's coming off a loss to Molly McCann, which I believe that was a year ago. Was that not the second? Yes, that was the second London card, which ended up being pretty bad. Let's see. She's 1-4 in her last 4 fights. And those were all her UFC fights. So she's 1-4 in the UFC. Mizuki Inoue overall is pretty solid grappling. She's very good in terms of her grappling. I really think her striking is not horrible, to be honest with you, either, for someone who's really good in their grappling. I think Hannah Goldie, while she is jacked and she is shredded to the teeth, I don't know. I don't like this fight. I'd say skip this fight. This fight is a hard skip. Mizuki Inoue by submission is probably your better bet, but I feel like she's probably going to be rusty being gone for so long. So maybe decision. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to lean decision for Inoue, but I don't like it. Bleh, bleh, bleh. And Muhammad Usman is going to be taking on Jake Collier in the next fight. Now, this is a bad fight. Bro, I just said this card was good, and I'm saying, oh, well, this is a bad fight. This is a bad fight. Trust me, there's some good fights. They're just on the main card. Now, Muhammad Usman, this would normally be a good fight, being the Ultimate Fighter winner last year, not the most recent one before that, and being the is the older or younger brother of Usman? Of Kamaru Usman. I believe he's the younger brother, if I remember correctly. How old is he? Yeah, he's the younger brother. He may be the younger brother, but oh god, he's a bigger boy. He's the heavyweight, while Usman's the jacked welterweight. Muhammad Usman, though, he is not a fat, out of weight heavyweight. He is big, he is muscle, but he's slow and cumbersome. He's got really good grappling and a lot of power, but he's really slow. And he really doesn't move that well at all. Like, he moves like he's just a big misshapen pile of meat that's strewn together in a crude fashion. And he kind of like, I don't know, it just doesn't look pretty. His wrestling is good in the fact that he's a good lay and pray. He doesn't have a high takedown accuracy, but when he gets those takedowns, he definitely makes them work. He wet blankets the hell out of you. Meanwhile, Jake Collier is just fat. He's got good speed. He's carried over all of his speed, but he's got no power. He doesn't really have durability. He's been knocked out quite a bit, has he not? Let me look up when this, because I know he was knocked out by Aspinall 1 round. I know it's Tom Aspinall. It's something bad. He was also knocked out by Chris Barnett. I forgot about that. I took Barnett in that fight. I believe he was an underdog, and that was actually a really close fight. Really bad showing for Barnett, but yeah, he's got knocked out by Barnett. Got beat up by Arlovsky. Sherman fight was absolutely horrendous. Martin Boudet against a boring version of him. No, get out of my face. Jake Collier is pretty poopy, honestly. That Muhammad Usman's not gonna win this fight because he's significantly better. Muhammad Usman's gonna win this fight because Jake Collier is just significantly worse. One thing to mention, Jake Collier is not a true heavyweight. Get that out of my face. He is a over bloated middleweight. Yes, he used to fight a middleweight. He used to fight at 185. And then he just decided donuts were his thing. And yeah, give me Usman by decision. Because while I do think Collier is a weak chin, I do think the speed is going to be too much for Usman to be able to clip him and knock him out. Make no mistake, that is a possibility, but that's the most likely conclusion. I think Usman's probably going to be a really high favorite in this fight, which makes him chalky, and I don't like that. I wouldn't bet that, to be perfectly honest with you. But maybe not a straight bet. Definitely not a straight bet, but probably a parlay piece would be really good, honestly. He's only minus 162. Nope, that's actually a good bet. I take that minus 162. Anything other that's not minus 200, I take it. And I don't like the plus money in Collier. Get that out of my face. Next fight, Jacob Malkoum versus Cody Brundage. Blech. I don't like Brundage, but I do like Jacob Malkoum. Jacob Malkoum is going to be a pretty good up-and-coming prospect. Only losses he had was to Phil Hawes, who, to be fair, Phil Hawes hits really, really hard. I get it. And then to Brendan Allen, who Brendan Allen is top 15 or fringe top 15. I don't know. Brendan Allen's a pretty solid fighter. I really like his fight against Nick Maximov. I really like his fight against AJ Dobson. He's a decision king. He likes to win minutes, honestly. He's not really getting you any knockouts in the UFC, unfortunately. But he still is really technical with his wrestling, clinch game, and his striking overall. Meanwhile, Cody Brundage sucks. Cody Brundage is garbage. He's 1-4 in his last 4 fights, and his only win was against Trajan Gore, who's garbage. Got taken out by Michal Olichek. Oh my god, he's Polski, and I can't say a Polski name. Michal Olichek. Oh, I have a Polish last name too. Rodolfo Vieira, and then Sidurikis Dumas. He got his ass beat by pretty much all of them, only surviving against Dumas. Get Brundage out of here. I don't like that, but I'm going to be leaning towards Malkoum by, I want to say KO, because I think Brundage has an awful chin. He's really chinny, but Malkoum is not a finisher. He really isn't. He's primarily a decision guy, so I think your best bet is moneyline. Don't bother with a prop on this fight. Take it moneyline. Malkoum, though, is... See, I said that without saying the odds. Never mind. He's minus 590. Don't even bother touching this fight. Maybe use him as a parlay piece. He'll be not even a good parlay piece. Parlay pieces stop being good at minus 300. He is just someone to pick and say, hey guys, I got this fight right. Tim Means versus Andre Fialho. You know what? Screw it. This card sucks. Tim Means versus Andre Fialho. Tim Means. I never want to count him out as a dog because I'm going to assume he's an underdog. Yep, he's an underdog. He's a plus 164 underdog versus Fialho, who is a minus 215 favorite. I don't want to count out Tim Means, but the problem with Tim Means is he's got too much mileage on him. He's got too many years on him, too many wars, and that wears on you. And Fialho, while he has a garbage chin, he really does. I still think he's got more power than Means. I think he'd take Means out. We saw Means get absolutely, basically KO'd and then submitted by Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland both knocked him out and then decided, okay, I'll submit you. He lost to Max Griffin, which is not a good win. And then he got submitted by Alex Morono. Those were his last 3 fights. He lost his last 3, dropped all of them. Fialho lost his last 3 as well, too. But it was a slightly better competition in form of Jake Matthews, Muslim Salikov, and good old Joaquin Buckley. But Buckley did knock him out pretty bad, so I don't know. I'm not super high on either guy. I just think Fialho is going to be the one to inch it out just due to the mileage on Tim Means. That's really the main problem with Tim Means, is he just simply has had too many fights. This is his, what's that math right there? I can't do math. That's 48 fights. This isn't boxing where 48 fights is yeah, he's an experienced fighter. 48 fights is, oh God, you are a crippled old man. Why are you still going? Neither of them have good durability, but I just think Means is just slightly worse. This is definitely a fight to stay away from because you're going to put Fialho on a parlay or something like that at minus 215. That's like a parlay piece, but that's a parlay buster right there. Don't bother with that fight. Don't bother with that bet. The only prop I would take is Fialho by KO, but screw that. Then Argueta versus Miles John. Miles John KO. That's all I really have to say about this fight. I'm surprised Johns is the underdog. I think they're both solid, but I just think Miles John has better anti-wrestling because you look at it, takedown defense of 92%. Yes, he has 60% takedown accuracy, which is good, but that takedown defense is too much. That's all Dan Argueta really has. He just has those takedowns, while Miles Johns has that takedown defense and really good power. While I don't like Argueta striking at all. Premature stoppage by Keith Peterson. God damn it, Peterson. What the hell? But yeah, I don't know. I was about to say, what was that? No contest. I didn't remember that. I'm going to give it to John. I'm going to take the underdog. I'm going to take him by KO. I know Argueta, has he ever been KO? Let's see. He lost a decision. Damon Jackson, who I think is garbage. I'm sorry. I think Damon Jackson's garbage. I'm gonna say Miles John is gonna take this one. I'm gonna be taking the underdog with this one. I just think his takedown defense is gonna hold up, and in the later rounds, he's gonna get that knockout. Yep. On to the main card. Ricardo Ramos versus Charles Jourdain. Here's where the good fights are. I just sat there and I thought, wow, that early prelims is garbage except for the last fight. Ricardo Ramos versus Charles Jourdain. This is going to be a solid fight. This is going to be a pretty good fight. Both these guys are explosive, kind of chaotic. I do know Charles Jourdain kind of fought a little bit more reserved in his most recent fight against Kron Gracie. But still, his boxing's good. He's exciting. He's had exciting wars against Nathaniel Wood and Shane Burgos, which kind of also said where his level is, considering he lost those fights. But Ricardo Ramos, I just think he's okay. I think he's okay as a fighter, but I think he's exciting. He can do spinning heel hook kicks. He can do punches, really good explosive punches. He's very dynamic. He's got a good submission game. Overall, these two guys are usually guys who go for broke. I have seen, like I said, Jourdain has been fighting a little bit more reserved. But for the most part, these are guys who really go after it. And I think this should be a very exciting show. Who am I gonna take this? I think I'm just gonna take Jourdain moneyline. He should only be a slight favorite. Minus 156. It's not the best, but I think him moneyline's good. I think him as a parlay piece is good. I just think he's a smarter fighter over Ramos, and as long as he doesn't go too crazy into a brawl, I think he's gonna take this one relatively easily. And on to the next fight, Bryan Battle versus AJ Fletcher. This is also a solid fight. Bryan Battle was the Ultimate Fighter winner for Volko versus Ortega, I believe. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty solid fight as well, too. Bryan Battle, when he first got into UFC coming off the Ultimate Fighter, against Renat Fakhretdinov. He dropped the fight against Renat Fakhretdinov. Renat Fakhretdinov is a very, very powerful wrestler, and he just out-wrestled him. But meanwhile, on the other hand, afterwards, he came back against Gabriel Green. Gabriel Green came at him with everything he had, went for broke, basically made it a war. That was in Charlotte, right? Yeah, that was in Charlotte. That was in Bryan Battle's hometown. Just an absolute war and a banger. Now then, even though it was only 14 seconds? Yeah, absolute banger though. Banger 14 seconds. Meanwhile, AJ Fletcher is overall a very solid fighter. He's also a very durable fighter. In fights he lost, like against Matthew Semmelsberger and Angelusa, he was able to survive against pretty big power shots and bombs. I do think he's a little bit, boring since he got into the UFC. But overall, I still think he's a very solid fighter. I do think he can probably beat Bryan Battle. I'm going to be leaning towards Bryan Battle because I like his striking more. But I do think the odds should be a little bit closer. Currently, Bryan Battle is almost minus 200. He's minus 196. I think it should be a little bit closer than that. I think this is going to be an overall closer fight, but I do like the striking better of Bryan Battle, but I just feel AJ Fletcher's too durable. AJ Fletcher's not been finished, and Battle has gotten a finish in all of his wins, has he not? No, he has one decision. One decision in UFC, one decision out. So, 2 decisions out of... So basically, 8 finishes, 2 decisions. Battle is a finisher, but I just think Fletcher's too tough to get finished. So a nice prop is the fight that goes the distance. If you really don't want to pick between these two guys, like I said, it's a little bit harder. I think inside the distance is a good... the fight goes the distance is a really good pick for this. But I'm going to lean towards Bryan Battle to win this fight. And a rematch. Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterson Gomez. Gomez is past her time. Gomez is a whopping 18-11. She's dropped her last 3 fights. And honestly, she only win she had was Angela Hill, who's perfectly even. So you nix that. She then also lost to Esparza and Jędrzejczyk a while ago. I don't think she has much left. She's not even an exciting fighter anymore. She just was a fun personality, but the excitement's gone. She's not getting finishes. Marina Rodriguez is also not that exciting a fighter. She's on a 2-fight losing streak. Nothing special. The only really note to her is she beat Mackenzie Dern and Yan Xiaonan, who ended up being really good. But other than that, not really much to it. This fight is just banking off the popularity of Waterson Gomez, Karate Hottie. Otherwise, I would not really care for this fight at all. Look at the odds. I'm going to assume Rodriguez is a favorite. She's a wide 340 favorite. I think that's solid. I think that's a good parlay piece. I also think the fight goes the distance is a good piece. But otherwise, not excited for this fight. But I do think it's a good fight to bet. Now for the co-main event of the evening. Bryce Mitchell's going to be taking on Dan 50K Ige. Bryce Mitchell has not fought since his Ilia Topuria loss, where he got absolutely demolished. Came in there, a lot of confidence, saying all this, all that, not even talking crap, just confidence. Just bruising, brimming with pure confidence. And I thought he was really going to be something. But I knew Ilya would beat him, but I didn't think Ilya would beat him that bad. Made him look like a rank amateur. And that's the thing, too. I'm going to be taking Dan Ige. Dan Ige is solid. He's decent, but he's been out-grappled. His takedown defense is above average. It's decent. He was out-grappled by Jose Aldo. He was also out-grappled by... not Jose Aldo, the Korean Zombie. He's also out-grappled by... was it Cater? Yeah, Cater. He's been out-grappled a few times, but for the majority of it, he's a very durable and solid fighter who can crack. He's got a lot of power. I remember that card we had a while ago where Dan Ige beat most of the featherweights on the card, which is hilarious. But he's definitely a finishing machine. He's a performance bonus machine. He's solid all around. Normally, I would lean towards Bryce Mitchell, having the much better Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. His wrestling is actually not great. He's got really good chain wrestling, but he's not really good on completing his takedowns. It's just through volume. Just through pure volume. It's really once the fight gets to the ground. That's where he's really good. And his striking has been improving. Was able to beat up Edson Barboza on the feet worse than anybody ever did since Habib and probably Kevin Lee, other than Stanky Leg. But he really beat the crap out of Barboza, and his jiu-jitsu game is solid. But his wrestling game is not elite. For example, look at Ilia Topuria, a guy who's since he came to UFC, really became a striker. Had a good wrestling background, but really predominantly became a striker. Beat the piss out of Mitchell using wrestling and striking. But Mitchell's striking did look more improved. The reason why I'm leaning for Dan Ige, though, because I'm saying all this, I think Mitchell's better, is X Factor. His mindset's not right. He's soft retired. Made nothing, like after he lost to Ilya, he's soft retired. He made nothing but excuses. He's talking about like, oh, I don't want to fight anymore. He was like fearful for his life. Oh, but he also had a cold. He just excuse after crap, after just BS, and it just doesn't seem like his head's in the right spot. Coupled with the fact that all the stuff going on in his personal life, I'm not gonna get into it, but he's having some problems with his ex-girlfriend and stuff like that. And he didn't look like that. Whatever he pulled out with against when he's supposed to fight Mozavad Ivlev, and he had that weird bruise on him or whatever that was. I just don't think Bryce Mitchell's in the right headspace right now. I think he's gonna drop another one. I don't think Dan Ige is the guy to be going up against when you're not 100%. Like, if he's 100%, he could beat Dan Ige, but I still think it'd be a hard fight. I don't think he's even at 50%, so I'm gonna be taking the underdog, which I'm only assuming Dan Ige is an underdog. Yeah, he's plus 162. A lot of people are really banking on some Bryce Mitchell. It could blow up on my face, but I'm going to be taking Dan Ige. I don't think Bryce Mitchell's got it in him. I don't think he's going to be taking that W. So give me Dan Ige. Give me Dan Ige. Bye. I'm going to say he knocks him out. I'm going to say he gets a TKO. I'm going to say it's going to be a ground and pound pot shot TKO. Give me Dan Ige. And now give me this glorious main event, because that's what we're here for, ladies and gentlemen. I said this is going to be good. And to be fair, everything on the main card, other than the Rodriguez-Gomez fight, is actually good. But this is what we're here for, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for Mateusz Gamrot versus Rafael Fiziev. The new generation of lightweights who got beat back by the old generation. But they're still good. They're still good, and I think this is going to be a really good fight. I know a lot of people have kind of soured on Mateusz Gamrot, mainly for how he's been winning his fights, but he's still good. So let's get to the tail tape. This is going to be a lightweight matchup, so you know it's going to be a banger, versus Rafael Fiziev versus Mateusz Gamrot. Rafael Fiziev is going to be 30 years of age, 12 wins, 2 losses, 8 knockouts, 1 submission, 5'8" in terms of height, switch stance, 71-inch reach advantage, a 0.31 takedown average, a 53.12% significant strike accuracy, a minus 160 favorite. Meanwhile, and he has significant wins over Rafael dos Anjos, Brad Riddell, Bobby Green, and Renato Moicano. Mateusz Gamrot is going to be 32 years of age, 22 wins, 2 losses. Wow, they both have the same amount of losses, but Mateusz has 10 more fights. They scooped up Mateusz a little bit too late. He's a little bit, well, I say a little bit too late, but he's in his prime, but like he's nearing the end of it, which sucks. He's going to have 7 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's going to be 5'10" in terms of height, southpaw stance. He has a 70.5-inch reach disadvantage, a 4.54 takedown average, my god, a 58.45% significant strike accuracy, plus 135 underdog, with significant wins over Jalen Turner, Arman Saryukin, he won that fight, Carlos Diego Ferreira, and also Jeremy Stevens. Now then, let's get into this fight. This is going to be the very textbook definition of striker versus grappler matchup in a very truest sense of the word. Rafael Fiziev is the Muay Thai instructor for Tiger Muay Thai, and he is an excellent Muay Thai fighter. His kicks are so good. His hand speed and his hand combinations are so powerful, and he's able to be very tricky with his knockouts. He's able to get some sneaky knockouts against Brad Riddell and Rafael dos Anjos. Rafael dos Anjos is also a pretty tanky and pretty durable guy who primarily fights at welterweight now. And Fiziev was able to get him with that fake knee into that, I believe it was a left hook. Just took him out. Fiziev is also great from either stance, left or right, lefty or righty, southpaw or orthodox. He will constantly be swapping stances, and he'll be landing power shots from each stance. His body kicks are good. Overall, I love everything I see from Fiziev. And one other thing I really like from Fiziev as well too is he has very good takedown accuracy, takedown defense. Fiziev is sitting at a 90% takedown defense. 90%. That's good. That's really, really good. Especially going up against a wrestler like Rafael dos Anjos and Renato Moicano. Most of these guys want to take you down. Most of these guys are not guys who really want to stand with you. Moicano is more of a club and sub kind of guy. But regardless, 90% takedown defense is amazing, especially going up against a guy like Mateusz Gamrot, who's really only got the wrestling. I really like Mateusz Gamrot, and to be honest with you, I'm probably going to pick Gamrot just because he's, like, that's one of my boys. I really like him. I root for the Polskis. But I do think Rafael Fiziev is probably going to edge this out, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be a tougher fight. Mateusz Gamrot has proven that he's relatively durable, but big shots can take him down. He has been dropped by Benil Dariush with a cracking overhand left that was able to floor him. Mateusz Gamrot is a very good wrestler. He's very good in chain wrestling, and he just keeps a constant pressure on with you. And his striking's deceptively not that bad, especially for a southpaw. A lot of people, I feel, lightweight aren't really good at fighting southpaws, which is surprising with how many they have. That's actually really surprising because you have like Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Islam Makhachev, Fiziev, like usually fight southpaw. Yet a lot of people really struggle with southpaws. That's something I noticed with Jalen Turner is he was not doing really good fighting up against a southpaw, which I believe Turner's southpaw as well too, if I'm correct. But whatever the case is, I could be wrong about that. But whatever the case is, his striking wasn't as effective, not just because of grappling, but just because he struggled with the southpaw matchup. I do really like Gamrot in terms of his wrestling, but like some of his wins now have aged poorly for both of these guys actually. Brad Riddell ended up flopping. Jalen Turner ended up flopping. CDA is nothing special, never was, and Jeremy Stevens got released from the UFC. But they still finished these guys, except for Gamrot did not finish Turner or Saryukin. But I don't know, man. I really think that the wrestling can give Fiziev problems, to be honest with you. I just think he'll defend most of those takedowns, though. I think he'll get into the later rounds, and Gamrot won't be able to keep shooting. He looked to get a little bit tired in his fight against Turner and his fight against Saryukin, to be honest with you, and was starting to get a little bit more sloppier, while Fiziev, he got really gassed. He didn't get gassed super much in the Gaethje fight, but a little bit, but his cardio held up really well in the Dos Anjos fight, and his cardio was kind of tested in the Green fight. So I don't know. He's kind of iffy in that, but I feel like Mateusz isn't going to be able to dodge the big bombs for Fiziev, to be honest with you. He's going to have to really give up rounds and really like be conservatively until he could get like the later rounds that really make something happen. But I don't think he's submitting Fiziev. I don't think he's going to lay on him for a lot. I just feel no matter how you look at it, this is Fiziev's fight. I'm going to be rooting for Gamrot, even though I really like both guys. But I think Fiziev takes this, and I think he's an excellent pick to pick a money line or smash the over. I don't know what the over is going to be, but I think that's a very good bet as long as it's not like over like 200. Like if it's anywhere like over 300, no. If you're straight betting it, it's got to be under 200, honestly. But yeah, I think those are your most likely outcomes. I think the fight's going to absolutely go long. I could even see a decision, but I have a feeling Fiziev is probably going to catch Mateusz probably later rounds 4 or 5 or something like that. He can be cracked. He can be cracked if he starts gassing. In round 3 against his fight against Benil Dariush, he was starting to gas, and that's why he got cracked. So overall, I'm going to be leaning towards Rafael Fiziev. That's going to be my pick, and that is going to be everything for this card. I'm going to be back. No more breakies. We're going to keep going full steam ahead. So please, please, please let me know if you're happy I'm back. But also, let me know what you think of this fight down in the comment sections below, and let me know what you think any of the fights that you like or are excited about. So once again, this has been your boy Gomi. I am back, and now I'm gone. Bye-bye.